Hi, kindergarten. I have a story to share with you today. Today we're going to read A Piece of Home. And this book is written by the author Jerry Watts. And Jerry Watts writes stories for children that explore how it feels to be different, especially at school. So we're going to learn a little bit about that today. Think about the title, A Piece of Home. What could that mean? Could it be an actual piece of a home, like brick from a house? Well, it could also mean something that reminds you of home. Let's see which meaning is in this story today. Before we read, I want to remind you about making predictions. Remember, when we make predictions before reading, we look at the pictures on the cover and think about the text type to make our best guess about what will happen in the story. So let's think. What do you think is going to happen in this story? And as we read, let's check. Were you right? Let's read today A Piece of Home by Jerry Watts. In Korea, my grandmother was a wise and wonderful teacher. When students bowed, she held her shoulders erect, but her eyes sparkled. Even at home, my grandmother could find the extraordinary held within the ordinary, like how she coaxed her monunguas shrubs to blossom into tantum flowers, revealing their bright red centers. In Korea, I was ordinary, a regular boy playing and laughing and bossing my little sister, Say-Ra. I was not extraordinary, not different. I was just me, like so many others. In Korea, my father, who always did the right thing, who always did what was expected, surprised us all. He accepted a position at a law school in West Virginia. Who would expect West Virginia? He laughed, and so did my mother. I did not. In swift movement and rapid time, I found my world packed into 3 boxes and 1 suitcase. Crated, nailed, and mailed to a house I had never seen. What are they doing? They're moving to a new home. How do you think he's feeling about that? In West Virginia, my grandmother stays at home, and she does not hold her shoulders erect, and her eyes don't gleam. Not at all. In West Virginia, I am not ordinary. I am different. My eyes are not big and round like everybody else's, and my hair does not tumble in thick curls or make a golden halo around my head. My new classmates smile and talk, but it is a sharp noise, and their names sit like stones on my tongue. Steve, Tom. Here, there are mountains, like in Korea, but the sky seems smaller and darker. I miss the lights of our city. The dark here is so black. At night, I touch my eyes to make sure they are open. But when the pale moon is full and round, it looks like my face, and a little like the face of the woman who is now my teacher. My teacher is nice. She tries to help. She speaks slowly, as if I'm stupid, lips snapping over sounds my mouth would not make. Can you say book? I try to say I don't want to be here. She nods a lot and smiles, but she knows that I do not understand, and I know she does not understand. How do you think he's feeling to be at school? Sarah also does not understand. Recess is over. She bites and kicks and even spits on her teacher. My grandmother cries and tries to tell the teacher she is sorry. And then my father talks to the school in his flawless English. It is decided that my grandmother will go to school with my sister to give her a bit of ordinary. She is having a hard time adjusting, but I have no help. I wish I were little enough or brave enough to bite and kick and spit. Days become weeks and weeks become months. I learn bathroom and please. I'm surprised that I can form words that make their meaning clear, though they still feel like stones heavy in my mouth. They work though. Play with me, like in Korea. Pass it back, like in Korea. Let's throw it at the girls. Okay. How's he starting to feel about school now? Grandmother is learning too, along with Sarah. At dinner, she tells us about the other children in Sarah's class and about their young teacher, newly engaged, who helps my grandmother with English at nap time. And my grandmother, with halting words, gives her advice. One day, Steve says, "Hey, June, come over." My first visit to a friend. In his yard, I discover a red-centered blossom. "Manangwa," I say. "Rose of Sharon," Steve says. "It's Manangwa in Korea," I say. "It's Rose of Sharon here," Steve says. When I leave, Steve's mother gives me Manangwa blossoms and a tender shoot to take home. "A piece of heaven," grandmother says. "A piece of home." Here it is called Rose of Sharon. A piece of home. My grandmother plants the shoot, and at the end of the summer, she takes one of the Manangwa blossoms and sews it into the wedding dress of her teacher friend, like our family does in Korea. And I can say, "Steve, come over," light like a bubble on my tongue. And that is ordinary in our new home. A Piece of Home by Jerry Watts.